It's so important that we go back to our roots to look at Ayn Rand's vision, her writings, to see what our undergrounding principles are. I always go back to the 64-page John Galt speech, on the radio at the end.
A doctrine that gives you as an ideal the role of a sacrificial animal seeking slaughter on the altars of others is giving you death as your standard. By the grace of reality and the nature of life, man, every man, is an end in himself. He exists for his own sake, and the achievement of his own happiness is his highest moral purpose.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 1. Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence.
I always go back to the 64-page John Galt speech, on the radio at the end.
My morality, the morality of reason, is contained in a single axiom: existence exists, and in a single choice: to live. The rest proceeds from these.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 2. Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams.
I always go back to the 64-page John Galt speech, on the radio at the end.
Honesty is not a social duty, not a sacrifice for the sake of others, but the most profoundly selfish virtue man can practice.
I wonder what your views, do you regret calling the efforts to require banks to hold more money, quote, un-American, and, quote, putting the nail in our coffin?
No, I don't think you said it's true. I supported parts of regulation and reform. We did not fight everything.
Well, I'd be happy to look at that again. I think you might want to review that.
These guys are not the job creators, they're the job destroyers. Stop foreclosures now! 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 Stop!
Honesty is not a social duty, not a sacrifice for the sake of others, but the most profoundly selfish virtue man can practice. His refusal to sacrifice the reality of his own existence to the deluded consciousness of others.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 3. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit.
Governor, let me ask you this question.
Altruism doesn't mean merely helping people. It means sacrificing yourself to others. The newest proposals of having special millions spent on subnormal children and on the handicapped, including those so-called kneeling buses. It's the attempt to bring everybody to the level of the handicapped. You're not going to force any responsibility on me.
To withhold your contempt from men's vices is an act of moral counterfeiting. And to withhold your admiration for their virtues is an act of moral embezzlement.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 4. Satan represents kindness to those who deserve it, instead of love wasted on ingrates.
I always go back to the 64-page John Galt speech, on the radio at the end.
When a man attempts to deal with me by force, I answer him by force.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 5. Satan represents vengeance, instead of turning the other cheek.
If I am challenging the base of all these institutions, I'm challenging the moral code of altruism, the precept that man's moral duty is to live for others, that man must sacrifice himself to others.
A freedom which asks only what's in it for me. A freedom without a commitment to others, a freedom without love or charity or duty or patriotism is unworthy of our founding ideals and those who died in their defense.
If you want to spread your views, in today's society, you have every opportunity, more than you can count. Why come here and take advantage of my show and of people who came here to see and hear me?
You have been using fear as your weapon, and have been bringing death to man as his punishment for rejecting your morality. We offer him life as his reward for accepting ours.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 6. Satan represents responsibility to the responsible, instead of concern for psychic vampires.
Damnation is the start of your morality. Destruction is its purpose, means, and end. Your code begins by damning man as evil, then demands that he practice a good which it defines as impossible for him to practice. It demands as his first proof of virtue that he accept his own depravity without proof. It demands that he start not with the standard of value, but with the standard of evil, which is himself, by means of which he is then to define the good. The good is that which he is not.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 7. Satan represents man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse than those that walk on all fours, who, because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, has become the most vicious animal of all.
I always...
What is the nature of the guilt that your teachers call his original sin? What are the evils man acquired when he fell from a state they consider perfection? Their myth declares that he ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge. He acquired a mind and became a rational being. It was the knowledge of good and evil.
Our destinies are bound together.
He became a moral being. He was sentenced to earn his bread by his labor. He became a productive being. He was sentenced to experience desire. He acquired the capacity of sexual enjoyment. The evils for which they damn him are reason, morality, creativeness, joy, all the cardinal values of his existence.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 8. Satan represents all of the so-called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification.
Outdoors. I'd like to read to you this scripture I wrote on my painting. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, the Son of Man that you care for him? Psalm 8, 3 and 4.
And as he now crawls through the wreckage, groping blindly for a way to live. Your teachers offer him the help of a morality that proclaims that he'll find no solution and must seek no fulfillment on earth. Real existence, they tell him, is that which he cannot perceive. True consciousness is the faculty of perceiving the non-existent.
what are the consequences of the traditional notion that we've got here in the Western world that sacrifice is what love is all about?
Do you want the quickest examples that comes to my mind? The newest proposals of having special millions spent on subnormal children and on the handicapped, including those so-called kneeling buses. It's the attempt to bring everybody to the level of the handicapped. And if it's merely an issue of physical handicap like a broken leg, which doesn't affect the mind, that would be a little more excusable. So I don't believe that such privileges should be granted to any group. But it includes the mentally retarded, which is the subnormal, the children who are unable to learn, so that at the end of spending thousands or millions of taxpayers' money, you're left with a half-idiot who may learn to read and write. May.
True consciousness is the faculty of perceiving the non-existent. And if he is unable to understand it, that is the proof that his existence is evil.
The 9 Satanic Statements. 9. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years.
Ships are full of food, boy. No, Satanic, no, Satanic, no, Satanic,